Hello, good morning all. Today in this video we are going to discuss regarding PostgreSQL queries. So currently in the screen you are seeing Odoo version 15 community edition where we are continuing our Odoo development tutorial. So the point that we will be discussing is about PostgreSQL queries. So there might be some use case where we have to write queries to get the data from the database or to update the data into the database. So if I say specifically, what I can say, commonly we write queries in order to fetch the data from the database for the reporting purpose in Odoo. So if I need to get a large set of data from the database, getting it using the ORM method will be much slower. So in the case of reporting, mainly in the reporting, we used to get the data from the database using the queries, that is PostgreSQL queries. So the case is that once we get the data using the queries, it bypasses the security layer of the Odoo. Like it will bypass the access rights and record rules, and it will be returning the data much faster than we retrieving using the ORM method. So what I'm saying is that there might be use case where you have to write queries to get the data from the database. So it is, as a developer, it's required to learn how to write SQL queries in Odoo. So we will be discussing about those points inside this video topic. That is, we will be covering how to insert a value to the database using PSQL query, and how to update existing data, and how to delete the data, and some basic queries. So let's see how we can do that. So in order to illustrate that, what I have done is I have already created a new menu with a model. So here you can see under the technical, I have added one menu called query, and if I open that, you have a text box where you can enter your query, and you can click on executing. That result will be listed over here. So as you don't have this view, what you can do is that you can navigate your terminal. So if you have different OS, just open your terminal, and either you can open the terminal from here or you can use the terminal of Ubuntu. So what I'll do is that I will log into sudo su postgres. So I'm switching to the postgres user by typing the command sudo su postgres. Then it asks for my password, so I'll enter my password, and you can see I have switched as Postgres user. Now what you have to do, you have to enter PSQL, click on enter. Then what you have to do, you have to connect to specific database where you have to perform the operation. So if I come to the UI, and if I go to this screen, you can see my database name is 𝐷𝐸. So to connect the database, you can use /c, then specify the database name. So if I enter /c 𝐷𝐸, I'll be connecting to this database. Here you can see you are now connected to the database 𝐷𝐸 as Postgres user. Then I can enter my query, select name from hospital.patient. So I'll just write a query here, hospital dot or hospital underscore patient, and if you run this, you can see you will be getting the results as follows. So you can do as follows. So it will be tough for you to see the results over here. So in order to avoid that, I have just created a new model called odoo.query, where we can enter the query here, and clicking execute, the result will be shown over here. So if I go to the PyCharm, and I'll stop that, and I will execute the same query over here. Select name from hospital.patient. So this is a query. This I will explain the same. And if I run this query, execute, you can see we are getting the result over here. So this is an interface that I have made. Just enter the query here, click on execute. The system will execute the query, and the result will be shown over here. So first of all, we will be starting with the select query in SQL. So the select query will be used to get the data from the database. As the name suggests, select. We are selecting the data from the database. So select query can be written as follows. Select. If you specify star, it will retrieve all the field values from that table. Select star from. then you have to specify from which model you have to get the data from. So if I duplicate this tab, and if I go to patients model, here you can see this is the patient model where we have around 12 records, and the model name is hospital.patient. So I'll copy the name, and if I go here, we have written the query and I'll paste it here. So I have already told, while we define a model, and the Odoo will be creating the table with underscore instead of dot. So the table name will be hospital.patient. So I'm selecting select star from hospital.patient, and if I click on execute, you will be getting the result as follows. You will have the field like ID, message main attachment ID, date of birth, relation. So if I let me hide this, and here you can see you have scroll bar, you can see you will have all the data. So I'm specifying star, then it will retrieve all the data from the database. So if you check here, we are receiving around 12 data, 12 rows from the database. If you come to this view, you can see you have 12 records in the database, and we are retrieving 12 rows from the database. So if you pass star, it will retrieve all the data. So if you need to get specific field values, you can specify the field values here. If I need to get ID, name, date of birth, date of birth. So I'm, instead of putting star, I'm specifying I need to get the value of the field ID, name, and date of birth. And if I execute, you can see ID 52, name Apple, date of birth is coming as 2021 for 26. So let me open Apple here. So we have the record Apple here, and if I open that, date of birth is 26 for 2021. You can see 2021 for 26, and its ID is 52. Now if I change its value to another date, maybe 2018 January 1, I'll save. And if I again execute this query, if I again execute this query, since date has been changed, so somewhere there is a problem, maybe with compute function. So if I put the date as 2015 May 5, or May, no, I'm not sure which value getting saved. If I click on save, you can see the value getting saved is 4/5 2015. Now if I execute here, you can see the value is getting updated, 2015 fifth month and fourth date. So this is how we can retrieve value from the database. So if I need to get the value of gender, so the field name is gender, I can add it over here. Just put a comma, then gender, specify the field name. If you execute, the result will be like this: female, 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 everyone is female, and there is 3 4 male records. So if I need to get the data in the order, in a specific order, I can put order by ID. If I pass order by ID, and if I execute, you can see the data is coming in the incremental order of ID. You can see 2 3 16 17. If I need to get in the descending order, I think we can pass disk, and you can see the ID is coming in the descending order. So here we can see currently we have 12 records. So if I create one more patient, I'll name it as fruit. I'll just put as fruit, and if I click on save, and if I come back to here, and if I execute, you can see the count has been increased to 13, and fruits is retrieved here. If I change its value to male, and if I click on save, and if I again execute, you can see mail is coming. So this is the select query in Postgres. Suppose if I need to get a specific record, or in a work condition, like if I need to get only mail records from the database, I can add, let me control Z, I'll keep the order here, order by, I can add where enter equal to male. So I'm adding a work condition here. I'm saying select ID, name, date of birth, and gender from hospital patient where gender equal to male. So currently we are retrieving all the records. here I have passed an extra condition gender equal to male, and if I execute, you can see only male records will be returned from the database. So also we have two options, that is formatted result. It will be showing as a tabular format. The raw result will be as follows. So if you execute the query in the Postgres by logging into the terminal, you will be retrieving the result as follows: ID, name, date time, and key. So I have this formatted it to represent well, so you can see we will be getting a better result. So this is the select statement. So I hope you understood the select statement. Now let's see how we can update an existing record. So let's assume a case where we have entered the patient's name wrongly. Instead of fruit, if it is fruits, we have to update the existing record. So let's see how we can update existing record using query. So I'll just delete the entered query, and if I execute, there is nothing. I'll click on clear. So I'll write update statement. So the update statement is as follows: update, have to specify which table you need to update. So I'm specifying I need to update hospital patient table set. So you have to specify which field you are going to update. Then you have to set I'm going to update the field name. Set name equal to, then specify which value, new value. I'll specify fruits new, where id equal to, I check its id, you can see it's 63. So I have just written a query here, that is update query, update hospital dot patient set. I'm saying I need to set the name as fruits new, where id equal to 63, and if I click on execute, and if I come back, so it is executed. So we don't have any result over here because we are not retrieving, we are updating. So it's already executed, and if you refresh, you can see the name has been changed to fruits new. Similarly, let's update the gender. So let's set it back to female. Then I need to update gender field, gender as I need to set it as female. So if you check the code, and if I open OM hospital module patient.py file, let me find the key. So if you check the gender field, the female is female key. So I'll copy this and I will put it here, gender as female, where id equal to 63. I'll execute, and if I refresh, you can see the value has been changed to female. So this is how we can perform update operation in Odoo. So instead of specifying where id equal to 63, you can pass any condition, like what I can say, if you need to specify for all the genders where gender equal to male, if I need to set, if you filter males here, you can see we have got 4 male patients in the database. So with this query, I'm saying update hospital patient, I need to set gender as female, where already currently gender equal to male. So if I execute, and if I again filter male, there will not be any males in the database, because using this update query, we have set all the male patient as female. So I hope you understood about the update query in Odoo. Now we will be discussing about the insert query, how to insert a new value to the database table. So we will be updating a new patient to the database from the query, that is insert query. So I'll write the query here, insert into which table. We are going to insert into hospital patient table, insert into hospital patient, which field we need to specify. If I'm creating a new record, I need to enter the value only into the name field. So this is the field name is name. So I'm saying I need to enter value to name field, and I have to supply the values, and I'll put test record. I'll name it as test record, and I'll close the bracket. So I have written an insert query, insert into hospital patient name to the name field, value as test record, and if I execute, the query has been executed, And if I come back here and if I refresh, we have created test record, and it's not visible over here, maybe in the archived records. So if I filter archived, you can see test record has been created. So by default it's coming as active false, so we have to pass one more value. Active is a boolean field, so I have to pass the value as true or false, so I'll pass true. And if I execute, and if I check here, a test record has been created, and we already have a archived one also. So let me delete this, delete. And if I come here, we have a test record, so let me delete this too, delete. And currently we have only 14 records. And if I execute this query, test records, execute, you can see a new record has been added. And if you check here, gender is coming as empty because we didn't specify any value. So let me add gender also, comma, gender equal to what value we have to assign, male. And if I run this query, test record, male has been created. So this is how we can use insert query in Odoo. Now what we will be discussing is about delete query, how to delete a record from the database. So currently we have created two records, that is test records and test records. So let me delete this using a query. So if I'll come here and I'll remove the query and delete, I'm writing a delete query, delete from which table we have to delete, from hospital patient, hospital patient, where you have to write the condition, where id equal to, if I open the id, you can see id 67, id equal to 67. And if I execute and if I refresh, you can see one of the test records has been deleted. Now if I try to delete it with the name, I'll copy test records, and instead of id I specify where name equal to, test records. And if I execute and if I refresh, you can see that record has been deleted. Similarly, I will delete this ttt also. I'll put it over here, where name ttt, and if I execute, that record also will be getting deleted from the database. So these are the basic SQL queries that you should be aware of, that is insert, how to insert a new record into the database table, how to select data from the database table, how to update existing data, and how to delete data from the database. So these are the very basic. We have advanced topics like a subquery, left join, etc. So let's, before winding up, let's discuss about left join also, and let's wind up this video. Suppose if I am taking the value from the appointment model, so here we have the appointment model. So if I try to execute a select statement, select id or patient id, if I execute select patient id from hospital.patient, sorry, hospital.appointment, and if I execute this, you can see we are retrieving around 43 records. So simply I'll add limit 5. I need to get only 5 records, limit 5, and we are getting the patient id as 3, 3, 17 to 32, because here we have patient id as many to one field, and many to one field will be storing the data in the database table as integer, the id of this record. So let's assume where we have to get the name of the patient. So actually if I need to get the name of the patient, I have to left join the query with the patient table. So I'll write like this. So here after from hospital patient, from hospital appointment, I'll add left join hospital patient, and I'll give an alias as HP on HP.id equal to I'll give an alias for hospital dot appointment also, HA, and here I will add HA dot patient ID. So as we are selecting from multiple models for hospital dot appointment, I have given the alias as a HA. Then here I have selected HA dot patient ID left join hospital dot patient HP on HP dot ID equal to HA dot patient ID. So if I execute this query, there is no error, everything is getting fine. Now I can get the name from HP dot name. Is HP is left join table, and if I execute, you can see the result is coming like this. So this is left join. I'm joining multiple tables. So initially we have selected from hospital dot appointment. So here we have a relation patient ID. So using that, left join hospital dot patient HP on HP dot ID equal to HA dot patient ID. So I hope you understood the basics of PostgreSQL queries in Odoo. So you can just check other PostgreSQL tutorials to understand the PostgreSQL queries in detail. So if you like the video, please do click the like button and support us by having a comment, like and share. So that's it for the day. Have a nice day. Thank you.